Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Howson and this is 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United draw again. In at number 1 then, Jadon Sancho, aka Jadon Sanchez, perhaps the bright spark, and we're probably getting the positives out of the way early doors here. Sancho looks like he's actually becoming comfortable as a Manchester United player. He looks like he's becoming productive in games. He looks like he's relaxed. Arguably should have had 2 goals, probably should have had an assist. The goal that he had, he took well. It was a nice counter-attack. It was a nice breakaway. I'm pretty sure that's the sort of football Ralph wants to see us play. He had an opportunity just before that, which was the mirror image of it, and he probably should have crossed it. But it was a good save, and it wasn't a bad option. The shot was on target. He hit the target. I always say I'll never have a go at a forward for hitting the target. There was options there, and shooting was one of those options. So not a bad choice in the grand scheme of things. Looks bad because it doesn't convert in the end, but he was looking bright, he was energetic, he's trying tricks, he's trying to take people on. That's exactly what we bought him for. So Jadon Sancho, solid performance, looks like he's finally arrived. Number 2, Maguire and Shaw. Covered these a little bit in more depth last night with the 3-hour live that we ended up doing, which covered all sorts. And we are probably going to start making those a bit more of a regular thing, and I'll probably make them available on Spotify and iTunes as well if everyone fancies getting in the mix with those. But the bottom line is Manchester United need to be keeping clean sheets. And we're not good enough. And in my opinion, major part of the reason why we're not good enough and we're not keeping clean sheets is those 2. Now, I know those 2 didn't have the biggest say in the goal we conceded yesterday. Luke Shaw playing him onside, it's minor. Harry Maguire stepping up instead of going and covering, that's a bit more serious, and that's not going to get picked up on by a lot of people. But there's a rule. With your defenders, you have a cover and a stopper, right? If the stopper steps up, the cover has to drop in and sort it out. When Maguire sees Varane step in, he steps up as if to play an offside trap. He needed to get 2 or 3 yards closer to Adams, and this wouldn't have happened. And it's these little minor defensive details that I don't see picked apart enough by pundits, and I don't see picked apart by the social media people that are talking about performances. And everyone loves to throw in stats, but these are fundamentals of defending. I like a stat, but there's also positioning, and unfortunately there's no positioning allocation to stats. Otherwise Maguire's and Shaw's positioning would be dreadful. They're just more often than not in the wrong position than they are in the right position. They're more often than not flat-footed when they should be on their toes. They're more often than not facing their own goal than facing the opposition, because they're not in the right position and they're not there quick enough to turn around and face it. The little review that they had of a penalty from a shot that was missed, where Maguire runs across the back of someone again. If you are close enough to run across the back of someone, you are close enough to slide in and get a toe on that ball. Or at least fucking try. The not trying is unforgivable. It was actually Varane that jumped out of the line that initially caused the chain reaction of mistakes. But Varane's been largely good. And one simple mistake. A centre-half has to be allowed to jump out of the line. That's part of defending, especially when you're coming up against a 4-2-2 or even a 4-4-2. A lot of back fours nowadays are not comfortable dealing with 2 strikers because it's a forgotten skill. Back in the day when everyone used to play 4-4-2, your 2 centre-halves knew exactly how to deal with 2 forwards, and one of the midfielders would maybe tuck in, or one of your fullbacks would tuck in and deal with it. I saw a lot of people saying Dalot was out of position. No, he wasn't. Dalot was on his man. Varane went to his man and missed. And Maguire was dealing with his man. But you have to go to the ball first and you have to slide across. And if your centre-half steps out, you have to slide across. Varane maybe should have held his line. The midfield arguably should have got across and covered it a little bit better. The bottom line is Manchester United aren't keeping clean sheets, and 50% of our defensive line just is plain and simply not good enough. Number 3, there's a crisis apparently with Ronaldo because he's not scored in 6 games. It's actually 5 games because he played 20 minutes as a sub and he came off after 70 minutes. So it's actually bang on 5 full games. I'm seeing so many people saying Ronaldo's ruined us. He's not. He's a player going through a patch of rough form. Ronaldo is he's an equation, right? And it can be a positive equation or it could be a negative equation, like every single other member of that team. Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, is a similar equation at the moment. Paul Pogba, a similar equation at the moment. And there's all of these things all the way across the pitch for us. David De Gea is a similar equation. Great in one aspect, shocking in another aspect. There's very few perfect players, if any, in the Manchester United squad at the moment, which shows you why we're putting in the sorts of performances that we are and we're tumbling down the table in the way that we are. Ronaldo's not having the volume of shots that Ronaldo generally has. His accuracy is no better or worse than it has been in previous seasons. He's just not getting the sort of service that he's used to having, because he's typically been at teams, including when he was here at United, that create chance after chance. Now, before he went to Euro 2006, am I going that far back? I'm going that far back. Ronaldo was averaging 13 shots per goal. He's nowhere near that at the moment. 13 shots per goal. He had hundreds of shots. In his 06-07 season, when he actually started pulling his finger out and becoming a bit deadly, when he scored 23, I think it went down to 10 shots per goal, which is still incredible number of shots and still only a 10% conversion rate. Elite strikers have it down in the 4s, and like crazy good strikers have it down in the 3s, 3 point something per shot. Ronaldo's never been that. He's been a guy that thrives on volume, and he's not getting the volume at the moment. You need meat to make sausages, and he ain't getting the meat. Number 4, I want to talk about their XG. So this sort of highlights the point, but it also shows a dichotomy of the point as well. Now, these aren't all Ronaldo. Some of these are definitely Ronaldo, but they're not all Ronaldo. You got Bruno missing open nets and stuff like that. They all get added into the mixer. So in the last 3 games, we've scored 3 goals, but we've accumulated 8.3 expected goals. That tells you that the chances, accumulatively, should have resulted in approximately 8 goals. And we're obviously not even half of that. I think it's obvious that Ralph is turning the corner with this team. I think he came in and immediately made us meaner. We conceded less goals straight off the bat. Then we looked like we were kind of struggling, being able to play it through the thirds a little bit. And then we weren't creating chances. He's kind of, week by week, improved, not fixed, but improved every single one of those aspects, to the point now where it's like, Jesus, we're not scoring goals. We scored loads of goals on the volley. Yeah, we did, but we also conceded lots of goals. I think he's ripped up the whole game plan. He's restarted it, and he's starting afresh, putting in new impetus, new ethos, new targets, new style of play, and it's just taking a little bit of time. Unfortunately, I think the time's going to run out for his little tenure at United. It's probably also going to run out for our top 4 chances. And even if we get through Atletico Madrid, there's zero confidence in Manchester United to be able to push on and make this better and get through to the next stage. Whether or not we get through Atletico Madrid, does anyone, if I sat here and said, United will be in the final of the Champions League, does anyone be like, Jesus Christ, it's a bit early for that sort of drinking on a Sunday, isn't it? It's just not realistic. And number 5, United are seemingly not following instructions. And that's a fundamental error. It doesn't matter if I'm in charge of United, if it's Ralph Rangnick, or if you bring Fergie back. If the players aren't doing what the manager asks, then nothing's going to work. It doesn't matter who you bring in. After the game, Ralph Rangnick said that he was talking about the goal, and he said it was a great goal in all aspects of the goal, but we stopped doing that. Even at the end of the first half, we didn't do those things anymore. And then in the second half, we lost a bit of shape in the first 20 minutes. And it went to rat shit. Why is it going why is it going like this? Why is it we concede a goal and we panic and the players decide to do their own thing? When we stick to the game plan, think about this, right? The way we start the first halves, we're sensational in the first half. Why are we sensational in the first half? Probably because it's still fresh in the memory, the manager's instructions, and they're probably playing to instructions for the first half of the first halves. And then the players concede, we panic, we flap, and we decide that we know better than Ralph, and we start trying to do our own thing. And that, for me, is where it starts going west. And this is the whole problem with this group of players. They're coming out saying that they want Poch. They're coming out saying that they don't like training after dark or driving home in the dark. Oh, my God. They're coming out saying he's a bit harsh sometimes. We don't agree with his fucking decisions. How about shut the fuck up, get on with your fucking highly paid job, you privileged arseholes, and start putting some fucking work in for the manager, for the club, and for this fan base. You absolute fucking fraudulent charlatans, the lot of you. Like, the privileges that you've got to play for this club, and all I see you do, the most whiniest bunch. You had Jose Mourinho, you've had Louis van Gaal, most of you. You've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a club legend. You even had Michael Carrick, and all you want to do is fucking complain. It doesn't matter who the manager is until you lot fix your fucking attitudes. Managers are easy to sack and replace. A whole squad of 26 miserable, whiny, good-for-nothings isn't as easy to replace because you've all got a perceived value about you. Just start putting transfer fees on managers and see how quickly people want to start sacking their managers then, because that's what it needs. Sack more players and less managers. Fucking jokers. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.